Hi, I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. I'm going to talk about flowers, but also about the value of flowers to our grief journey. Most of us have had losses of one sort or another, and I'd like to just go through a couple of my own stories and how flowers have impacted on my way through these sometimes difficult times. And you'll see behind me, it's a beautiful sunny day here. You'll see behind me there's a dahlia garden. So after I'm finished, I think we'll take a little wander down the dahlia garden for a couple of minutes. So I'll start with dahlias. I married in 2016, and this was my second long-term relationship, and was not to be as long-term as I anticipated because my husband passed away in 2017. But he loved dahlias, and I've never been a fan of dahlias. But when I moved into his home, I helped him in the garden, and I was given a tiny piece of garden that I was allowed to use for my own flowers that I liked. And as he became ill, he became unable to tend to that garden really. So I was doing it all, and it was quite a large garden. So I was deheading dahlias every day, and some of them were absolutely beautiful. So I too fell in love with dahlias to the point that now I have my back garden full of dahlias. So when he was unable to get outside, I picked a large bunch of mixed flowers from his garden, which we lived on a corner. So the people who went past every day often used to comment on how beautiful he had the garden. He was very fussy about everything, the lawns and the flowers. And it gave a lot of people a lot of pleasure, including him, and then later me. So this particular day I decided that I'd pick this big bunch of flowers and bring it inside. And I said to him, seeing you can't get out in the garden to see what's happening out there, I thought I'd bring the garden into you. And he was pleasantly surprised. He did enjoy that big bunch of flowers sitting in front of him for many days. So that was one little story where flowers helped both of us really. It helped me feel a little bit more useful to him, because when you're dealing or alongside someone who's ill, you do feel a bit powerless sometimes and unsure of what you can do to help people. So I think flowers are a wonderful way to just show your care for someone and your love for someone. Yes, I have got several little stories from my life. My daughter passed in 1999. She would have been 50 last year, so she was only 23. And she used to say to me, Mum, I hate gardening, but I love seeing your flowers. I love seeing the garden, but I don't want to be a gardener, she'd say to me. So that was her idea of gardening, looking at enjoying other people's work, which was lovely to have it appreciated and know that she loved it anyway, even though she didn't want to do anything physical in the garden. So, and then a very sad moment for her fiance and myself, as we sat one afternoon, near the end it was for her, and she said, I want to have sunflowers at my funeral. Now, any of you that know the significance of the flowers and the different meanings that they have might know that sunflowers are a sign of positivity. Well, I think there was no one that I knew and have known since that was more positive than what my daughter was. Before and during her illness she was always as upbeat as she could possibly be, and I guess trying to take care of everyone around her while we were wondering just what it was that we could do to make her load less heavy. So sunflowers is not a thing that I particularly like myself for my garden, but every time I see sunflowers I feel a warmth inside me, and a memory of my daughter comes back to me. So flowers do invoke memories, and most of them are usually good ones, especially as time passes. So there's other things that people find nurturing when they're going through a grieving process, and music is another one of them, and there are probably many more. But for me it was flowers, and I had quite a big and full garden when Rochelle died, so I used to fill my vases with flowers and put them around the house. That was something that helped me to feel at least a little bit alive, I guess. It's very hard to let light in, especially in the early stages of grief. It's not easy. The heart seems to wrap a little shield of protection around us, making us a little bit numb. So any little bit of light that can get itself through helps us to heal bit by bit. Another flower that I have only recently started to love, and that's the rose. My mother had a garden that was absolutely full of roses, and she loved her roses, to the point where now when I hear the name of a rose, if Mum had it in her garden, then I would recognise it, because she'd tell me the names. And one of them is Double Delight, which some of you will know. There were so many that she'd take me around the garden and she'd tell me the names. And I was younger then, and probably at the stage of my life when I wasn't able to really develop a garden of my own, so I was only mildly interested. But anyway, roses and Mum go together in my memory, and always pleasant memories of her being in the garden and cutting roses to bring inside, and getting such pleasure from her flowers. We use flowers in our lives all the time. We use them at funerals, we use them at weddings. They're all over our greeting cards, our sympathy cards, our thank you cards, our birthday cards are often covered in flowers. So it's the same as with music, I think. Universally, it's known that these things uplift us. So I guess my encouragement is to realise how much you can help in the healing of others with the use of flowers, whether it be them walking past your garden through the day, or every day on their way to work, or just as people used to walk past my husband's garden, and it provides upliftment for them. So never forget what your little gestures of kindness, in the way of maybe a little posy, a bouquet, or a plant, or even a card. Never hesitate to provide these little glimpses of light for people. Thinking about what's going on for other people that we never know about reminds me of my last little story I'll tell you. I was walking to my job in the city after my daughter died. It was probably 2 or 3 years afterwards, so it wasn't long. And I walked past this huge section in the central city where they were ripping down a hospital. Now, that hospital, my daughter had her first major operation in after it was found that she was ill. So it was it was a bit of a shock to see this hospital being taken down, and the grounds, which were always beautifully manicured gardens, were now bare, and the stone and brick was being tumbled to the ground. So it took me back a bit. And then I thought about these people that were working in this building, pulling it down. And my thinking was, they don't know who was in that hospital, who are walking past or driving past now and remembering the stories of their loved ones who maybe were ill or maybe were cured or maybe were at the beginning of a very long and difficult, sad journey. So I thought about that a lot in the weeks following, and I thought about those workmen and what they were doing there, knowing that they would have no thought whatsoever for the people, probably, that were contained in those wards, nor the doctors and the nurses and all their staff that it takes to run a hospital. So that led me on to thinking about what they might be going through. Like, everyone is going through something at some point in their lives, and we never know what it is. So once again, we can think of flowers as a way to show people that we care. Sometimes it's good to just follow your intuition. You get a little feeling or thought that someone might like something, whether it's a small bouquet of bought flowers. If you don't have a garden, it doesn't matter if you don't have a garden, because there are other ways you can share the beauty of a flower with people who are going through difficult times. So yeah, I hope that was useful. Our memories are what keep our loved ones alive for us. And if we can bring flowers and other things that we love into those memories and link ourselves with those loved ones, it can make a huge difference. Let's go look at these dahlias. Look at this dinner plate, I think they call it. Amazing. Huge, huge. Little mauve pieces on the end. It's lovely. Lovely. Some of these you'll know we either like or we don't like. You can get such a huge range now, can't you, of dahlias. Oh, I quite like that one over there. Hello, pretty girl. You're beautiful, aren't you? I'm always sold on the pink ones. Not my favourites, these cacti ones, but they're pretty amazing, aren't they? Look at that. It's amazing. Look at that. Wow. Isn't that gorgeous? It's been broken by the wind. Look at that. Oh. Some of them are so beautiful when they're tiny as well. There's a little bit of a rogue coming into the middle. It's another big dinner plate one. Whew, they get so heavy. Just have a wee sweep round and show you where I am. Look at this. Isn't that lovely? A beautiful sunny afternoon. It's about mid-afternoon, just after. This is dark lavender. I've got this one in my garden, and I don't know how it ever got there, but it's there. Oh, I like this little pale pink. That's pretty. Just a little blush of pink on it. Oh, I like. Mmm. Mmm. It's the yellow balls. I'll go around here. Oh, yeah, flowers are at the top. That's nice. Different. Wow. Wow. Isn't that gorgeous? So intricate amongst the trees. Ball type ones. So busy. Big one at the back there, big black one.